He sat alone at a table in the far corner of the cafeteria of his office building. In front of him was a bowl of soup, a sandwich, and a glass of milk. It was the same lunch he ate every weekday. The soup and sandwich changed daily, but the trio remained constant. His colleagues realized that he was no longer very sociable and chose to avoid his company. At the age of 39, Zachary Thurlow had acquired a thick skin and the ability to distance himself from the chaos happening around him. He never knew his parents. Not for real. They died in a car accident on New Year's Day when he was 2 years old. His father was drunk and lost control of the car, crashing into a bridge support. Both died instantly. He lived with his grandparents until he was almost 10 years old, when they could no longer care for him. He was sent into foster care, finally being placed with a couple who provided him with a foster home. He got lucky. They were good people, Byron and Melinda Thomason. A little older than usual, but great people who really cared for Zachary and raised him like their own son. He received a scholarship to a local university and, through hard work and part-time jobs, was able to complete his education with a Bachelor of Science degree in mechanical engineering. His grades were good, and upon graduation, he was offered a job at Kildare Manufacturing in his hometown. He was assigned to the engineering department, where he worked with several colleagues to plan and perform preventive maintenance, equipment replacements, and other upgrades on the production floor. He found his work very satisfying. While still in college, he met and courted Lauren Withers. She was a year younger than him, and he waited until she graduated before asking her to marry him. She readily agreed, and they married in September. The marriage produced 2 children, Tanner and Lance, born 18 months apart. After the boys were born, the family bought a modest house in the suburbs. It was a 1-story house with 3 bedrooms, a full basement, and a 1-car garage. Since they both had cars, his car was parked outside since he was the first to leave in the morning and the last to return in the evening. Lauren did not work, preferring to be a housewife. Zach's salary was enough to provide them with a good standard of living. They raised their sons to be good students and citizens. Both boys were involved in scouting, but stopped when they became interested in girls. They participated in school activities and both played on the school football team. They had a typical teenage social life, including several girlfriends. Zach never worried about them and was sure Lauren felt the same. As the boys entered their mid-teens, Lauren began talking about finding part-time work. She had a Bachelor of Arts degree, but no specific training for any specific profession. Zach wasn't completely against the idea, but he wanted her to make sure it wouldn't interfere with their family life. She assured him that this would not happen. After months of unsuccessful searching, Lauren found a part-time job as a sales assistant for a kitchen and bathroom remodeling company. Her job was to evaluate the potential customer and direct him to the appropriate salesperson. She didn't need to be an expert, but she jumped into the opportunity. After a couple of months, she completely mastered the company's products. At her 6-month review, she was given a salary increase and written feedback rated excellent. When she took the job, she made it clear that she would only be available on weekdays until 4 o'clock. She had to manage the house and prepare food for her sons and husband. At first, this suited her employer quite well. However, a year after the first inspection, she began to feel pressure to work on Saturdays, which were usually the busiest days of the week. She was reluctant at first, but when her manager offered to put her on salary plus commission, she saw dollar signs dangling before her eyes. "Zach, can we talk after dinner?" "Certainly." "About what?" "About an opportunity that cannot be missed." "Okay," he said warily. After the dishes were put in the dishwasher, Zach and Lauren sat down at the kitchen table. "I was offered to switch to salary plus commission instead of just salary," Lauren began. "It would mean a lot more income for me and us, since my sales were so good." "Okay, that sounds good," Zach said, still not sure what the catch was. "We already have enough money, dear. Your salary contributes to the boys' college fund, and there's still some left over. What kind of increase are we talking about?" "It would be about 20 to 25% more," she said, beaming. This is a big leap. What's the catch? Well, um, I would work on Saturdays. Oh, he said, nodding. This means that we will only see each other one day a week. No, I would be home every night and for breakfast in the morning. I just won't be there on Saturdays. And what do we do on Saturdays now? He asked. Well, we go shopping, have lunch together. You know, the usual. Yes, usual. Ordinary is what we do together and have a little time to ourselves. We relax after the week and talk about what we want to do or where we want to go. We can do this on Sunday, she said, already showing annoyance at Zach's comments. Zach was quiet for a few minutes, obviously thinking. Would it matter if I asked you not to do this? He asked, looking her straight in the eyes. Would you do it? Would you stop me from trying to realize myself? He shook his head. This is not about self-actualization, Lauren, and you know it. It's about recognition and reward. It always comes with a price. What do you mean? She asked, starting to get angry. With every opportunity to earn more comes more pressure to achieve results. You'll find that your boss expects you to stay late to complete a task or prepare a proposal that can't wait. Your time is no longer your own. Well, you better explain it, Zach, she blurted out. Do you support me in this opportunity or not? I never stopped you from doing what you consider important. I'm trying to point out the changes this will bring to our family. I think you're exaggerating the changes. You just don't want me to work on Saturdays. Maybe you don't want me to work at all, she said, getting up and leaving the kitchen. Zach exhaled and sighed. He knew from the very beginning that she would take the job. What bothered him was her attitude towards ignoring his concerns about his family and the short time they could spend together. He had a bad feeling about this, but knew that he would have to let it play out to avoid a real rift in their relationship. It seems that money has become the main factor in her life. It was unexpected when the young woman sat down opposite him at his solitary dining table. He looked at her, realizing that she was familiar to him, but did not know her name. Hello, this is Zachary Thurlow, right? She asked cheerfully. Yes, it's me. I'm Bonnie Cosworth. I work in HR. I'm in the engineering department. Yes, I know. I made changes to your insurance and your 401k. Nice to meet you, Bonnie, Zach said with a small smile as he returned to his lunch. I noticed that you were sitting alone at lunch. My presence is you. Such a big problem? No, I'm not much of a social person, so most people get bored when I don't contribute much to office gossip or whatever the current topic is. Zach examined the woman for the first time. She was about 5 feet 5 inches tall and about 20 pounds overweight. Most of this extra weight seemed to be located on her chest. She had a round face, short feminine reddish-brown hair, pleasant complexion, cheerful smile, and pleasant voice. Her lunch looked like a regular diet lunch: salad, tea, and jelly. I'm sorry about your divorce, she said after a long silence. I don't. Why? She asked in surprise. I made an error in judgment, and it needed to be corrected. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't pry. I know better, especially since I work with so much confidential information. From the rumors I've heard, there aren't many secrets in this place, he said with a wry smile. By the way, I heard that you turned down a promotion last week. You heard right. Can you tell me why, or is it none of my business? Ha, he laughed. It's none of your business, but I don't mind telling you why. My reason is purely financial. I realize that this would not make me feel better. Besides, I'm pretty sure my ex-wife has a couple of spies here, and they'll be the first to tell her about the extra money. There will be her lawyer trying to get me to pay higher alimony. So, all in all, it's not worth it. Oh, she said, looking completely miserable. It's a shame. No, don't feel sorry for me. I'll be okay. I have come to terms with what happened and will get through it. At some point in the not-too-distant future, I'll be back on the job, my sons are in college, and my ex-wife is forced to live on whatever she and her lover can afford. Life goes on, he smiled. What is a lover? She asked. It's an old-fashioned name for a guy. In this case, my ex-wife lives in what used to be our home. Her boyfriend lives in a fairly ordinary apartment since his wife kicked him out. My ex can't let her boyfriend move in with her for two reasons. First of all, my lawyer is watching her like a hawk, and if she tries this, he will attack her for living in common law and file a petition to revoke child support. The second reason is that my eldest son would probably beat the crap out of him if he tried. I understand that all is not well between your ex and your sons. The moment they can escape, they probably will. This will happen when they go to college and live on campus. They have a very good fund that will cover their expenses unless they become too ambitious and go to Stanford or Harvard. I talk to them regularly, and they tell me they are going to go to the local university and live closer to home. She looked at her watch. It's time for me to run. I'll go back to my office. She stood up and took the tray. She turned to leave, but stopped and turned back to Zach. Would you mind if I joined you for lunch again? Zach shook his head. No, don't be shy. I hope you won't be too bored. I have a feeling that I won't be here. She smiled and left. Zach looked at his watch. He had at least 10 minutes before returning. Usually after lunch he had half an hour to kill. On a good day, he would go for a walk around the building to get some exercise. Today he just sat and thought about Miss Cosworth. She was the first person who had the courage to ask him about his personal life, although almost everyone at the plant knew about his situation. Was she curious? Maybe. Time will show. It didn't take Zach long to see a change after Lauren started working on Saturdays. Over the course of a month, she came home later and later in the week and brought her work with her. Everything happened exactly as he predicted. Success creates higher expectations. There was, of course, much more money, but also hours. Lauren was still ecstatic about the recognition and opportunity. She was delighted with her work and talked about it constantly. At first, this stimulated their sex life. She was the aggressor, and Zach had to admit that it was a side benefit he hadn't expected. A very nice added bonus. As the months passed, Lauren took on even more responsibility. Now it was assigned to specific contractors. This gave more and more opportunities, but at the same time more and more work. The only consolation was that she could do some of this work at home. At least she was in the house, if not available to other family members. As their personal time decreased again, so did their sex life. When Zach goes to bed, Lauren will be tired or still working. He tried to talk to her about it, but she only paid lip service to the problem and made empty promises that were rarely kept. Zach saw the decline in their love life and wondered what to do about it. It was Lance's 16th birthday, and they planned to take Lance and Tanner out to dinner at a nice restaurant to celebrate. Zach had booked a table for 7 o'clock at Penny Farthing, a former bicycle shop converted into an upscale restaurant. When 6 o'clock came and there was no sign of Lauren, Zach picked up the phone and called her cell phone. "Did you forget about Lance's birthday?" he asked in an annoyed voice when she answered. "Oh, crap. Sorry, honey. I'm busy with something and can't leave. Go ahead, I'll meet you at the restaurant. I will leave here as soon as possible." "How I can." "Come on. I'll see you when you get there," he said, hanging up and frowning. "Is everything okay, Dad?" Tanner asked. "Yeah, I guess. Your mom works late and will meet us at the restaurant. We could go right now. I don't want to lose my reservation." God, what else is new? You'd think she was the president of this place. Zach chose not to respond to his eldest son's snide comment. They waited half an hour for Lauren to arrive, but eventually they had to order before they got hungry. They ate in relative silence, which hardly suited the atmosphere of a birthday party. A special cake arrived as dessert, and they celebrated Lance's big day in sullen silence. Their mother still had not arrived, and it was now obvious that she would not come. Zach paid the bill and silently drove the boys home. It was an unpleasant incident. Lauren arrived home at 10 minutes past 10, full of apologies for missing Lance's birthday dinner. Her sons and Zach greeted her with stony silence. "What?" she said in response to the cold attitude. "I was busy. I had a job." It was clear that she was not at all embarrassed by her action. "Would a phone call be too much of a request for you?" Zach asked quietly. "I lost track of time. I was busy. And what's the big deal about a birthday party? For Pete's sake, he's 16, not some 9-year-old boy." "You have this attitude towards your family," Zach said, standing up and approaching her. "It was never about Lauren's birthday. It was about one of those rare occasions now when we can all get together." "What do you mean by rare cases? I'm home every night. Why do you make such a big deal about it?" "Because it's a big problem. When was the last time you were home in time to cook dinner? Did you know that the boys and I are now official chefs? Probably not, because you're so caught up in your own little world that it doesn't occur to you. Most of the time you don't even have dinner with us, even though we keep putting dinner off so you can join us. I'm tired of this constant grumbling about my work. You never supported me in anything I wanted to do, and all you can do is complain. Well, I'm tired of it." "Do you want a divorce?" Zach asked, not sure he wanted to hear the answer. "What? Of course not. Why are you even asking such a question? You're overestimating the situation, Zach." "Well then, let me make something clear. I'm not going to put up with much of your remote version of marriage. Decide what's important to you, Lauren. Nowadays it seems like work comes first, and everyone else and everything else comes third." With these words, he went to the bedroom and began to get ready for bed. He lay awake for almost an hour before sleep finally overtook him. Lauren never joined him. "Hey, Zach," Bonnie said cheerfully. "Hello, Bonnie. How are you?" "Okay, thank you. And you?" "As always. Just moving along the road of life, being careful of the potholes." Bonnie giggled. "You have something new every day. Do you come up with them in advance?" "Just for you, Bonnie. Only for you." "Well, I'm pleased. How are things going in the engineering department?" "Pretty good, I'd say. There are no real insurmountable problems, that's for sure." "What about you personally? How are your boys doing?" "They can't wait to finish school. Lance talks about summer school to try to jumpstart his senior year. He wants to go to college and join his brother in the second semester if he can. And this will also get them out of the house?" she asked. "Of course," Zach grinned. "I always thought that money would be the main motivator for them, but it turns out that the desire to escape from their mother is a stimulus that surpasses any other." Bonnie's face darkened for a moment. "It's sad, you know. These boys will regret this someday." "Perhaps," Zach agreed, "but they are very angry at Lauren for what she did to the family and to me." "I can understand that, I guess," Bonnie nodded. "She made the divorce as bad as she could out of spite. She should have known that her sons would take your side." "I'm not so sure about that," Zach said. "I think she was so out of touch with reality that she was sure that we would do everything to save the family. When she turned on me and set the dogs on me, she really alienated Lance and Tanner. I still don't think she understands why." "Zach, can I ask you a personal question?" Zach laughed. "Bonnie, all your questions are personal. Come on, ask. You think Lauren cheated on you? I mean, before you asked for a divorce?" "I don't know for sure," he said seriously. "I wouldn't like to think she put it on top of her other sins, but I have to be realistic and think it's possible. I've heard some rumors." "You told me weeks ago that it didn't take her long to find a partner in bed," Bonnie said with contempt. Zach shrugged. "It doesn't matter, Bonnie. The marriage is over, and it wouldn't change a thing. She is no longer the same woman I married many years ago, and I have come to terms with that. When alimony and child support are over, I will be a new person with a great job and a great future. I can start again. I just need to get through this difficult period." "I can't believe how strong you are, Zach. You never complain about what happened to you. You never look like a person reduced to poverty, although I know how much you have to pay your lawyers and that. Bitch. Every month. You hold your head high and do your job, and everyone here respects you for it." "Thank you, Bonnie. You know, in all the months that we've been having lunch together, you've been great company. I have to think about how to thank you for this. I really appreciate it and hope you don't think otherwise." "Zach, you're the only man I can talk to without thinking he has another agenda." You look into my eyes, not at my chest. You share your life with me, and you have never once asked me to keep it a secret. You should have understood that I would never jeopardize our friendship by talking about you to others. I never thought about it, Bonnie. I think I consider you a friend, and friends don't do that. At least real friends don't. Thank you, Zach. This is one of the nicest words that you've ever said. Please, Bonnie, but there's something you should know. What? I actually look at your breasts when you can't see, he chuckled. Oh, you deceived me. That's the only thing that seems to attract men's attention, she sighed. Not true. There's a lot about Bonnie Cosworth that I find very attractive. In fact, I was trying to work up the courage to ask you out. Is it true? She was surprised. Well, why don't you do it? I think I just did it, Zach said. It will be some kind of quiet and cozy place with good food and a decent wine menu. I would be glad, she answered enthusiastically. Name the time and place, and I will be there. Well, how about 6 o'clock this Saturday evening? I'll pick you up if you give me your address. Is it true? Saturday, 6 o'clock? Are you serious? Zach smiled. Very seriously. I want to invite my favorite lady to dinner. Have you ever been to Penny Farthing? No. Isn't this where you were supposed to celebrate Lance's birthday? Exactly. However, this time I think it will be much more fun. I'll be ready. You can count on me, she said happily. I'm counting on you. Dad, when will you talk to Mom? Asked Tanner. She's almost never home. She doesn't have dinner with us anymore. You could say we don't have a mother at all. Zach nodded. He's reached his boiling point, and it's time to talk to Tanner and Lance about his plans. Find your brother, please. Tell him we're having a family meeting, and I want him here. Zach saw Tanner's eyes widen in realization that something big was happening. He took out his mobile phone and called his brother. He'll be here in 10 minutes, Father Tanner said. Zach went into the kitchen and took out a bottle of brandy from the liquor cabinet. He poured himself a strong drink and waited for his youngest son to arrive. Tanner sat silently at the kitchen table, anxiously awaiting the meeting. He was sure that this did not bode well. Lance arrived right on time, walking into the kitchen and sweating profusely. What were you doing when Tanner called? Asked the father. We were playing college football. Tanner said it was important, so I ran here as fast as I could. Thanks, Lance. Why don't you wash up and get a towel? We can wait a couple more minutes. Yes, of course, he said, quickly heading to the bathroom. Tanner stood up, went to the refrigerator, pulled out 2 sodas, and returned to the table, placing one where Lance would sit. Zach smiled at him for caring about his brother. It was a simple but meaningful action. Guys, it's time to tell you about my plans. I did everything I could to bring your mother back to the family. Oh, I know her body is here every day at the same time, but her spirit is not. For a long time, I thought it was about money and recognition, and maybe it is. However, I no longer have the marriage as it was, and I plan to end it. The documents will be finalized next week. Will lead to big changes here. His sons sat silently, showing neither surprise nor denial. According to the law, your mother will have custody of both of you until you turn 18. For you, Tanner, that's just a couple of months. Lance, you still have over a year ahead of you. I will have to leave the house and find another place to live. I have already started looking for an apartment, and it seems that I have found the right one. As soon as the divorce goes through the court, the division of property will begin, and I expect that the house will be put up for sale. I believe that we would split the proceeds from its sale, and that would allow me to look for something more substantial. I will probably pay child support unless we can prove that your mother earns as much or more than me. There will also be attorney fees, housekeeping expenses, and alimony while either of you lives here. Your tuition and living expenses are paid for and cannot be used for other purposes until you complete your education. Zach stopped and took a sip of brandy. Neither of his sons said a word during his explanation. Finally, Tanner spoke. Dad, Lance, and I both saw it coming. I wish it hadn't happened, but Mom abandoned us for some reason. It makes me really angry, and I know Lance feels the same way. If we have to live with her, she won't like it. I appreciate your support, guys, but don't make your life any more difficult than it already is. You just need to get through a few months, and you'll be free to do what you want. I'm not sure how your mother will react when I tell her about your plans, but it might not be pretty. Just don't do anything that would really upset her. I guess we'll have to wait and see what she does when you tell her, Tanner said sourly. Lance nodded in agreement. Zach knew he couldn't put off announcing his commitment to Lauren. Although the documents wouldn't be ready until Tuesday of the following week, he planned to use Sunday to talk to her. It was now Friday, so he didn't have to wait long to release all the tension that had been building up while he made his final decision. Lauren returned home after 7 in the evening, entering the house with a briefcase in her hands and barely noticing Zach's presence. If there was a straw that broke the camel's back, this was it. Zach tossed aside his carefully prepared speech for Sunday and followed his wife into the bedroom. "Lauren, we need to talk," he said, standing in the doorway of their bedroom as she took off her jacket. "Not now, Zach. I'm tired and hungry." "We'll talk later," she said dismissively. "No, not later. Now," he answered sharply. This caught her attention. "What's so important that it can't wait?" she asked angrily. "I filed for divorce yesterday. The documents will be available on Tuesday for your signature. I advise you to find a lawyer." "What?" she screamed. "I said I filed for divorce. The grounds are irreconcilable differences." "I don't believe you. This is not the time for stupid jokes, Zach." "This is not a joke. I'm completely serious. You've completely abandoned this family for the last year, and I can't take it anymore. I'm moving out today." "You can't be serious. Do you want to divorce me because I have a job?" There was an expression of disbelief on her face. "For now, and for the past few months, that's all you've got. I'm no longer interested in trying to save this marriage. Obviously, neither are you." "You bastard," she screamed. "You think you can just walk away and leave me alone after 20 years? I'll fight it tooth and nail. You've been jealous of me and my success since I started working. Now you think you can just get rid of me, like from yesterday's newspaper. I have news for you. I will find myself a lawyer, that's for sure. I will fight to the last to show you what happens when you try to deceive me." Her face contorted into a grotesque red mask of rage. "You had a chance to save the situation, Lauren, but you abandoned me, as well as your sons. I put up with it as long as I could, but tonight was another example of how little we mean to you. I will give you the documents on Tuesday. In the meantime, I'll grab my things from the bathroom and leave. I've already packed most of the things I'll need." So here he is, the great and brave Zachary Thurlow. A little trouble with a wife who doesn't completely obey him, and he runs away. "You spineless bastard. I'll show you who will dictate what happens in this house." Zach shook his head as he listened to her tirade. There was no point in arguing with her, and it was better to leave now before the situation got out of control. He gathered his toiletries from the bathroom, put them in a duffel bag, and went to Tanner's bedroom. He was surprised to see both Tanner and Lance sitting on the edge of the bed, looking very sad. "I take it you heard something," he said.
"Yeah, it's hard not to hear when she's in scream mode," Lance said.
"I have a cell phone, so you know how to find me. I'll be staying at the Forest Hills Inn until I confirm my apartment rental. Stay in touch, guys. I can't tell you what to do about your mother other than remember that she is your mother and not a demon. She is very angry with me now, but I don't think it will affect you. Just stay calm. If anything goes wrong, call me." "Okay, Dad," Tanner said. "We understand why you need after what we heard. I couldn't live with it either." Zach and his sons shook hands, hugged, and he left, heading down to the garage. His packed suitcases were there, and he carried them to his car. Lauren was nowhere to be seen. 5 minutes later, he left and headed into the unknown world of separation and divorce. This will not be a happy journey. "Hey, Zach," Bonnie said with her usual enthusiasm. "How is your day going?" "Like a racing Ferrari, Bonnie. Lots of noise and squealing tires." She laughed. "I know you're tired of hearing this, but that dinner on Saturday was the best I've ever had. All those pounds I lost over the past months came back after it, and I still don't regret it." Zach chuckled at her enthusiasm. "Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't show. All that hard work is paying off for you. You look at the picture of health." "Thank you, kind sir. Since I joined this community center exercise club, I've been really motivated to keep training. I'm glad you think it's paying off." "Well, you've only been doing it for 3 months, so you've achieved great results in a short time. It took me 6 months to feel like I was in great shape again." "I feel good too," Bonnie said. "I have more energy. My clothes fit better, and I sleep much better. I'm really glad I took your advice." "I noticed a few guys approached you earlier. Were they looking for a date?" He grinned. "I don't know. They were just chatting, but this is the first time this has happened." "Well, it's just a sign that they're starting to notice you and the changes. Keep it up, and you'll have a constant stream of guys around you to choose from." "Yeah, I guess," she said, looking a little disappointed. "So if I ask you out next weekend, I'll have to stand in line?" Zach asked. "No," she said immediately, her eyes wide open. "Do you want to go again?" "Of course. There's a play on the community stage that they say is good. I can get tickets for Saturday if you want to come with me." "Oh yeah, that would be great. Thanks, Zach." "It's my pleasure," he smiled. When the results were finalized, Zach had spent more on his lawyer than he could have paid in a reasonable time. He couldn't blame the lawyer. He simply responded to all the delays and disputes that arose endlessly during the year while the proceedings were ongoing. Zach still had a long time to pay off his debt. His wife exacted a huge price from him for his freedom. His lifestyle was extremely modest. He lived in a 2-room furnished apartment that was mediocre at best. He simplified his life to live within his limited means. Somehow, the court decided to award Lauren a large amount of alimony, despite the objections of his lawyer. Lauren's income record was highly suspect, but so far any attempt to extract her income from her employer had been blocked. His lawyer believed that Lauren was receiving internal help at her workplace. This raised interesting questions about who was willing to falsify documents requested by the court. Zach was in no position to hire a private investigator, and his lawyer and Lauren knew it well. His only luxury was a weekly date with Bonnie. He was ready to lose anything just to spend this one evening with her. He needed the comfort, conversation, and self-esteem that she gave him. Bonnie was a breath of fresh air in an otherwise oxygen-deficient environment. Lance was lying on his bed when his cell phone rang. He smiled as he recognized the caller. "Hi, Dad. How are you?" Lance asked. He left a message for his father to call him at home. "Not bad, son. I always keep my feet on dry land." "Hey, that's good, right?" "That's what they say. How can I help?" "I have information I think you should know. It concerns Mom." "Oh? What information?" "Well, I heard she's buying a townhouse. One of my friends in school. Well, his dad is in real estate, and I heard his mom talking to him on the phone." "I guess that's not surprising. We sold the house, and we'll split the remaining equity. I'm almost paying off my lawyer. Now I'm only in debt for the next 10 years, Zach chuckled. "Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I'm sure Mom had big bills from her lawyer. How can she afford to buy a fancy townhouse in Devon Estates?" "Devon Estates? Is that where she shops?" "Yeah, I thought it was weird, considering." Well, it looks like your mother isn't as desperate for money as she claims. I think I'll talk to my lawyer. Thanks for the information, Lance. I really appreciate it. How are you and Tanner holding up?" "Tanner has no problem, Dad. He's already moved into his college dorm. I still have time to live here. I saw your mother last weekend at the Penny Farthing while I was having dinner there with a friend. She was with some guy." "Was it a tall, dark guy with 20 pounds of fat hanging over his belt?" Zach laughed. "Yes, it's him. Do you know him?" "He's one of Mom's clients. He's a builder. He builds custom homes and luxury townhomes like the one Mom is buying." Oh, so maybe it was a business meeting, Zach suggested. Maybe, but they seem to have a lot of meetings in the last couple of months. Well, she's single now, so I guess that's to be expected. I thought she would find someone better than this guy. I think he has a lot of money. That seems to be important to Mom. I'll let you know what I find out, Lance. In the meantime, as always, we'll stay in touch. Take care of yourself, Zach said lovingly. Yes, you too, Dad. Any ideas for Saturday night? Zach asked, sitting with Bonnie in the cafeteria. Yeah, I was wondering, what if you come over to my place and I'll cook dinner for us? Oh, well, sure, if that's what you want. Zach let out a sigh of relief when he agreed. Bonnie was a little tense about the invitation. Oh, good. I'll cook something special for us. Could you please bring me a bottle of wine? I don't know anything about wine. Yes, of course. Just tell me if it's meat, poultry, or fish, okay? It's seafood. Will that help? That's all I need to know, Zach laughed. Now you've really intrigued me. I haven't eaten seafood in a long time. Well, get ready for fun, she smiled. Oh, I wanted to tell you, my lawyer called last night. Looks like there's some doubt about Lauren's income record in court, and my lawyer has filed an appeal for child support. He thinks the records were falsified in her favor. Really? That'll get her in trouble, won't it? If it turns out she's involved, then yes. For me, it just means more legal fees. I want this to end as soon as possible. Bonnie reached out and took his hand. It was an expression of support and comfort. You are the bravest and strongest person I know, Bonnie smiled. You have remained so stoic and calm through all of this. If only this were the case if it happened to me, I would probably go crazy. There were times when I thought I was going crazy, I assure you. I just had to calm down and try to think things through. Do only the important things in life, not the little things. One of those important things was you, Bonnie. You helped a lot. Me, and I really appreciate it. Bonnie leaned back and blinked. She was on the verge of tears when Zach told her how much she meant to him. She fell in love with this man, knowing that most likely it would not be mutual. Nevertheless, she felt a loyalty to him that she could not and did not want to neglect. Lance's cell phone rang as he sat at his desk doing homework. He smiled again when he recognized his father's number. Hello, Father. Hey, Lance, how are you? I'm fine, Dad. How is your mom? I don't know. Something made her really angry, and she spent the entire day stomping around the house, muttering to herself. Well, maybe I can clear that up for you. My lawyer was able to get your mother's income data from her employer to see how much she actually made. It looks like she only listed her salary and not her commissions. I don't. I know how she managed to hide it, but my lawyer says she and her employer are in big trouble. Will she go to jail? Lance asked, alarmed by his mother's action. No, I can't imagine that happening. Most likely, she will be ordered to return all unjustified alimony to me. The court will decide how much it will be. Oh, that's good. I wouldn't want her to end up in jail. Me too, Lance. I don't love her anymore, but I'm not that cruel. Can I stay here for the weekend? I think I'd better stay close to my mom just in case. Okay, Lance, I understand. Anything else I should know? Zach asked. No, everything else is fine. I'm almost done with school so I can start a summer job at my mom's boyfriend's construction company. Yeah, it'll take your time and build some muscle, his father chuckled. It'll be a great opportunity to work on my tan. The girls will be delighted when I go back to school in September. I'm sure it will. Well, take care and call if you need anything. Thanks, Dad. See you later. While Tanner practically cut himself off from his mother, Lance surprisingly stayed by her side and didn't talk about leaving home anymore. He abandoned the idea of a summer school in favor of earning money to buy a car. Apparently, the job offered by Lauren's friend paid well. This wasn't a big surprise to Zach. He knew Lance had been close to his mother for years. He either forgave her for her attitude towards her father and family or decided to leave the past in the past. Zach was not upset by this decision. Perhaps this would soften Lauren's anger towards him, although Lance's description of her behavior after the court decision didn't make her sound very forgiving. "So, what are our plans for the weekend?" Bonnie asked with a wink. "Well, you'll be pleased to know that Tanner went to see his girlfriend in Coldstream and Lance stayed at home with his mother. She's very upset about the judge's decision on her income statement right now. That leaves me free for the weekend." He grinned and winked back at her. "Wonderful," Bonnie exclaimed in a hushed voice, clapping her hands and catching the attention of everyone in the cafeteria. "Now you've done it," Zach said with mock disgust. "Now everyone will know about our affairs." "Don't you think they don't already know?" She laughed lightly. "We're not deceiving anyone, Zach. Everyone knows. All that's left is to find out the details that they will never know." She grinned. "Oh, what details?" "Oh, let's see. The way you make love to me. All that wonderful foreplay you love to tease me with. Some of the unusual places we do it in your apartment. Those are the details." "I have to admit, Bonnie, you make me feel young again. That first time we made love was incredible. It was so completely different from me." "You mean compared to your ex-wife?" "Yes. I wasn't going to mention her. I'm afraid I didn't know what I was missing all these years until you came along. It took you long enough. Almost a year, in fact. I was starting to doubt whether you'd ever make a move. Actually, I was planning this long before I had the courage to ask. Think about all this time we wasted not telling each other how we felt," Bonnie said with a hint of sadness. Zach shook his head. "No, don't think like that. We needed time to get to know each other. I needed time to get over the loss of my marriage and the feeling of failure. You needed time to make sure I was the right guy for you. No, we didn't waste time." "Well, I don't entirely agree with you, but now that we've moved on, I'm a very happy woman, and as far as I can tell, you're pretty happy too." "Oh yes, very happy indeed. So, back to the question. We have from Friday evening to Monday morning to do whatever we want. Any suggestions?" Bonnie leaned across the table until her head was almost touching Zach. "I'll tie you to the bed and take care of you the entire time. When Monday comes, you'll need a wheelchair to get to work, Zachary." "What about you?" He laughed. "I'll be sent to an insane asylum. I'll be curled up in a ball, giggling like an idiot. I won't be able to stop," she said with a stupid smile. Zach shook his head again. "No, no, that won't do. I need you for more than just one weekend. We'll have to split our energy so that you have enough strength to pack up your things and move in with me." "Move? Are you serious?" she exclaimed. This time there was no doubt. A number of employees nearby heard her scream. "Very seriously, I hope you agree," he said with a loving smile. "I'll go home now and pack my things," she said, eyes wide. He grabbed her hand. "Why don't you wait until after work? We'll go together and I'll help you pack and move. We don't have to wait until the weekend if you don't want to." "Are you kidding? Are you really serious about this? Can I move in with you?" He nodded, smiling at her surprise. "You didn't think this would happen, did you?" "I was hoping, but I was afraid to ask or even mention it. I'm so excited that I know I won't be able to work that day." "That wouldn't be good for a new assistant HR manager. After all, you're the manager now. Certain standards are expected of you," he teased. "We will celebrate my new assignment later. Right now, I have something more important to celebrate. You will receive so much attention and care tonight," she promised with a sensual smile. "I'll be waiting for this with bated breath." Lauren Thurlow was seething with anger when she returned home. She picked up the house phone and called Zach's cell phone. "You just had to do it, didn't you? Your jealousy wouldn't let you leave it alone," Elle said angrily. "Lauren, you brought this on yourself. You deceived and hid your true income by forcing me to pay a completely unreasonable amount of child support. As a result of this and your evil tactics during the divorce, I owe my lawyer a huge amount of money. Did you really think that should I just ignore it? You're such a selfish bastard, Zach. You just couldn't stand the fact that I was successful. Well, when this is all over, I'll still be making great money, and you'll be wandering around this factory, worrying about some stupid machine. Is there any point in this call, Lauren? I just wanted you to know that you ruined any possibility of us getting back together, she said angrily. What the hell gave you the idea that I would ever want to come back to you? I can't imagine anything I'd want less. You're an angry, sour, foul-mouthed woman, and I don't know you anymore, thank God. Have a nice day, Lauren, he said, ending the conversation. Bonnie sat at the lunch table, looking at the ring on her finger and shaking her head. I still can't believe it, she said with a dreamy smile. Mrs. Zach Thurlow, it's almost unreal. I thought the ring would convince you, Zach laughed. Did you tell the boys? Yes, and they're both happy for me. For us, actually. You've made a very positive impression on them. Of course, they're pretty impressed that you became a manager before I did. Bonnie snorted with disdain. You're not far behind me, Mr. Equipment Purchasing Manager. Besides, you gave up that position long before I became a manager. I'm trying to think of a better title for my position. It's too bulky, and I'll need an oversized business card to fit it all in. Well, you work on that, and I'll work on your reward for promotion. What a reward, he chuckled. You know very well what kind of reward, Mr. Your loving wife will reduce you to a pile of stupid mass tonight. You do this to me every night, he smiled. And I'm going to keep doing it, she said, kissing him passionately in front of everyone in the cafeteria. And subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think, click to the next one.